you gave me the balls to like do my first door knock.
They'll give you their password. They're not supposed to do that.
Do you have a criteria on a house that you look for?
Like, oh, Jay, you should take people's financials and audit it. Like, no, dude, we're not auditing financials.
Yeah. Is every flip the same, or do you have different vibes for different flips? Because that neighborhood, I think, to me, is a gem. It's all a mixture of a lot of old houses that need love.
The holding costs ate me up. The market ate me up. It was going to be such a great profit, too.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's your girl, Gina.
And Scott.
And we're with the Dream Big Sweet Living podcast. And I'm really excited to have Jay. And he is, how long have we known you?
At least 6 years.
Yeah, it's been a while. So, Jay, tell everyone who you are and what you do in Vegas.
Okay, so I'm a flipper here in Las Vegas. Came to Vegas 2011, bought a few properties. Lenders said I couldn't buy any more. They said I blew my load. So I waited 3 or 4 more years until 2015 where I got my real estate license. I was a dealer at the casino for 7 years, by the way, in between that time. And 2017 is when I started flipping. So you represent some investor clients, quote unquote investors, and then they end up backing out of deals that are super profitable. And you're like, I should have just taken that down myself. So that's exactly what I did. Been flipping since 2017 and just more and more every year.
So you wanted to be a realtor first, or was that your intention of helping or being an investor one day?
I always want to be an investor first, but I read the book Flip when I was 16 years old, failing out of school, failing out of English class, but I was still reading books on investments and business and all that. I knew that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to be a realtor because a realtor is just customer service, right? Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, it's 10% contracts, maybe 5% knowing what you're doing. But when they make fun of it on South Park's 100% when they make fun of people. You take pictures and you sell houses. That's it, right? But I knew that the first step was getting out of the casino. There's only so much I could do when I'm clocking in 40 hours a week. And in the casino, it's golden handcuffs. You are in a prison, a beautiful, oxygen pumped, good
free
EDR
prison
for 8 hours. Can't look at your phone. You can't have a water on the table, not a coffee on the table.
Damn.
You know, if you touch anyone's hand, clear your hand, show it for the camera that you're not stealing anything.
Wow. That's crazy.
I had to get out. I had to earn my freedom first. Then once I got free, then I could be an investor.
Did you kind of like it? Because you're there for a while.
I loved it. I mean, I was making $74,300 a year as a 23-year-old.
Yeah, that's
back
amazing.
in 2012 and 13 when it was real money.
Yeah.
Nowadays, dealers at the Wynn are making over $100,000 a year full time, but that's because all the COVID inflation hit and all that stuff. But back then, $74,000 a year, you could buy condos for $74,000.
Yeah.
It's still pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's good things to it, but it's a kid's job. And I knew that.
Would you recommend would you recommend somebody becoming a real estate agent who's getting into flipping and all that good stuff?
Yeah, 100%. I think there's so many people who are a realtor first, including people in this office, Ryan Pineda, Brian Davila. Those people started as agents first. I'm sure a lot of people did. It increases your knowledge. So not only does it, one, you don't learn shit from being in real estate school. They don't teach you anything at all. You're actually going to know less once you graduate real estate school. But if you're a realtor and a producing realtor, not only will you end up learning the market, you'll know how to comp, you'll know what people think and feel when they walk into a house. So you'll know 100% what's an overflip, what's an underflip, how much should I do with this? You'll really know the market. And the basics of flipping is just buy a house for less, fix it up, sell it for more, right? But even if I'm a great flipper here in Las Vegas, if I went to East Coast, if I went to Colombia, if I went to Germany, if I went to wherever and tried to flip houses there, you kind of have to see what this neighborhood's like. What's the vibe here? Okay, you fix it up this much in this neighborhood. You fix it up less in that neighborhood. It's no matter where you go, the generalities of flipping is super easy. But to be good in that specific area, you really have to dial it in. And I think being a realtor is good at that. And it's easy money for now.
That's good to know because he quit nursing. And so he's now getting his real estate license just to get access to MLS so we could start doing our own
and it's
investing.
Here's the thing.
Take on
Anyone,
listings.
they're not supposed to give you access to the MLS, but if you just talk to any of the realtors around here, any of the realtors you know,
Yeah.
they'll give you their password. They're not supposed to do that. You can only do it so many times before you get caught.
Yeah.
But if you just pay them off or do business with them, they'll let you do that.
Yeah.
But that's not the benefit of being a realtor. Having MLS access is one thing,
Mm-hmm.
but knowing it for real. Buy buyer leads, get buyer leads, work with buyers, see how normal people think when they walk into a house.
Mm.
And that's what I wanted to do. I want to get, because there's no point just getting a license and not
Mm-hmm.
just for MLS. But I kind of want to go through the process and learn it so I just understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My right hand man, Marlon, he I won't name drop him, but here we go. But the person who works with me in my company, when he's doing finish work, like he got his real estate license later, and I love that he did because he just walk into a house and be like, yeah, that's fine, that's fine. But when you walk in with normal people, they nitpick everything. Oh, they didn't put up the toilet paper holder. You don't think about that even,
Yeah.
you know, when you're doing the flip. But yeah, why aren't we buying toilet paper holders and installing it? You know, it's the little things or the little things that normal people really complain about. And you have to know. You have to know what they think when they walk into a house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I agree. And then like seeing a home inspection report as well, they kind of get freaked out because that happened to us too when we first bought
Yeah.
because you don't know anything.
And there's different ways to, they're always going to find something or else
Yeah.
they feel like they're not doing their job. So there's a lot of theory on that. There's pros and cons. I have my opinions. Other people have their opinions. You know, there's some people who say you should get an inspection first and fix every single item.
Mm-hmm.
But fixing every single
That's
item
too
is
much.
it's too much.
Yeah.
I don't do that. I want everything that's major to be fixed. And no matter what, they're going to ask something to be repaired. Everybody is,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
you know?
It's for their best interest.
Yeah.
So,
That's cool.
You got to give them something to complain about. Have like one minor thing that like that you know you're gonna have to fix, and then they're gonna be like, "Yeah, I want that fixed." Okay, we'll do it. You know. Now they feel like they got something out of you. They feel like they won.
Yeah. What's in your portfolio right now? Like, what do you just do flips or do you have buy and holds at all?
I got some buy and holds. I have only one subject to right now. I've sold
Okay.
off some of the other ones because you know some of these people that talk about subject twos, they only talk about all the benefits, and with the one,
Mm-hmm.
they just refuse to give us the password to their loan servicing company, and we couldn't set up auto pay. So we're paying it every month, but how many times in a row are we going to pay this on time until we forget, and then
Yeah.
everybody starts complaining? So we end up selling it as a flip and
Oh,
made
nice.
some money on it.
Oh, nice.
But for all the other ones where we got access to their portal, whether that's Flagstar Bank, M&T, whatever, we keep those as buy and holds. But I keep buy and holds for the tax write-off, and then buying at a discount anyway, so it's more profitable for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my number one strategy right now, but a big strategy is if it's a subject to and I can get in for less than 10% of the purchase price or close enough.
Mm-hmm.
If it's 300,000, I'm getting in at like 37,000.
Yeah.
Fine, we're close enough to 10%.
Uh-huh.
But all the subject to deals that they're bringing up these days is like $80,000,
Yeah, the
$70,000 to
entry-
get
the
in.
entry fee is crazy.
Yeah,
It makes no sense.
it's not a deal at that point.
Yeah.
yeah.
How do you find your deals?
People like you know. I'm like knock on your neighbors
I know.
for anybody.
That was so funny.
So you guys had your banana boat? No,
Banana bungalow.
banana bungalow opening
yeah,
party
yeah.
for your Airbnb.
Uh-huh.
All banana themed. You know, you wore a dancing banana outfit. It was great.
She can't get that off her mind. Bananas and stuff.
So I went there and then looked at your neighbor's house across
Yeah.
the street, and I'm like, that looks like shit.
Yeah.
Could you find out their name and number for me,
Mm-hmm.
and then I could see if I could buy it? I don't think I bought the deal deep enough.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I-
okay.
It should have been, especially knowing what I know now.
Yeah.
If they could have caught some of those things, those title issues on the front end, but they
Mm-hmm.
didn't. They didn't catch that till later.
Yeah.
It actually would have been good if that was never an issue.
Yeah. So I thank you because you gave me the balls to like do my first door knock. So
Oh, yes.
yeah. And that was my first door knock and a first deal closed, I guess, but also it's a headache as well.
Yeah.
What we're going through right now.
It's a headache. What my number, so I don't spend any money on advertising.
Mm-hmm.
what I do is, because I've been a realtor for so long and I'll hang out with realtors, I'll go to their little office parties and stuff like that. I've taught so many realtors, literally hundreds of realtors, of just to be aware of a real estate deal, of the things that a client might say that means that they'd be open to a cash offer. You know, there's clients that talk to their realtors every day, I just want it sold. And the realtor's like, yeah, we're going to sell it. But what you should be saying is, what does that mean you just want it sold? If we wrote you an offer right now for $250,000 cash, would you say yes to that? What are they going to say? They're either going to be really offended. What? You want me to sell my house for $250,000? Are you trying to rob me? No. I'm just trying to see if you're open to that. If that's something that you'd want to do. Not at all. You know, well, not $250,000, but we just have like $280,000 cash. Okay, we can talk about that. Send it out to some investors, make some real money. And if they say yes to the $250,000, then great.
Yeah.
But ask them. Ask the follow-up question. To be a good realtor or any good salesperson, you have to know for sure. You have to know what they're thinking. And especially like in the middle of COVID, they're like, hey, we don't want showings. You know, we're really afraid of the disease. What does that look like? Would you take a cash offer this much right now? And then we don't have to do any showings. Oh, I like that. You know?
Yeah.
So if they said yes to the 250, are you the one buying it?
In my case, I would be, but a lot of realtors don't even have $100 saved up, let alone,
And
like 40 grand.
They know it's you buying it, the buyer,
Uh,
or are you buying it? Like
it
with an
works
LLC?
better if you say you could send it to one of your investors.
Mm-hmm.
So you might think, hey, this sounds better if you're saying you're going to buy it yourself. But if I'm going to buy it myself, it almost seems like I'm asking to take advantage of them.
Yeah.
If you're like, yeah, I have investors who will buy this and it's no problem for you, you know, no work being done. Because think about it. Why did Domino's Pizza blow up back in the 80s? It was the worst pizza. It tasted like cardboard. It was the most disgusting thing. But it was 30 minutes or less to your door, else it's free. It was quick and it was easy. So it tasted like crap.
Yeah.
You don't like the taste of it, but it was fast and it was easy, and that's what you're paying for. So I'm not your highest offer, but I'm no drama. I'm quick and I'm easy. On my
like
dates
Gina.
too. Yes, just like Gina.
So what?
I've never seen her blush so much.
What? So how many flips have you done, and how many do you average about a year?
I'm between 100 and 105 on the acquisition side. So I was going to hold a party for 100 flips bought,
Wow.
but I think I'll hold a party for 100 flips sold,
Nice.
which should probably be like February. But that's how many I've done. 2017, I bought one. 2018, bought 8.
Wow.
2019, bought 12. 2020, bought 18. 2021, bought 22. And 2022, it was actually 20.
Wow.
And then this year, I should be on pace for like 28.
Okay. And
Yeah.
like, are you solo or do you have like partners? How's your?
Solo, I have my team,
Uh-huh.
but you know, it's my business, it's my corporation.
Okay.
I have people who go and check on the houses. I have contractors
Gotcha.
who are almost like project managers to me right now. Like, I have a contractor from 2018, another one from 2018 actually, and then I have a new one who we just started using last year. But because I've used them for so long, they know you. They know what you want. They're familiar with you.
Yeah.
They know they're going to get paid. You know they're going to do it. There's trust there. So I could buy as many houses as I want because I can trust it'll be sold. If you're doing a new flip and you're trying out a new contractor, that's like going on a date with a new person. They're all going to tell you, I'm going to treat you so good. I'm going to be the best you ever had. You're not going to love anybody like me. But until you go on a date with them
Yeah.
and actually see what they're like for real, then you know the truth. Every contractor tells you how good they are.
Yeah.
And then it's 4 weeks later. You're like, where are you? Why are you not doing anything?
How'd you find that contractor?
My longest standing one, actually, second longest standing. Second longest standing, we did a flip in Henderson. He painted the exterior of a house next door. And that guy was like, man, you got to use my painter. He's the best. And then we tried him out with one thing and then with another. And then he started doing more and more and more. Then we had him do tile work, and he was terrible at that. So then we're like, only paint and flooring for you, right? The longest standing one was a helper of one of my first contractors who ended up being hooked on drugs, so he didn't work out. but he still introduced me to this guy. And this guy's not one of my best contractors, but he's really loyal. He always gets it done. He does prompt. He does the dirty jobs. He never complains.
Nice.
He's not the fastest. He might not be the best, but he also locks up deals. And that's why I keep him around.
Nice.
So I kind of teach him what to say. I teach them to be aware of it. So also, not only have I taught hundreds of realtors how to find deals, but all my contractors, when you're in the area, tell them that we buy houses, ask them, have they heard any rumors of anyone else here wanting to sell? Get all the info, get me in front of people who want to sell their homes. Do you guys have friends who are looking to sell homes, who are getting evicted? So they sent me my 3 best deals right now that I should be making over 100,000 each.
Yeah. Wow.
All for my contractors.
That's amazing.
The best deals.
Yeah. So do you give them a finder's fee?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And what's your usual or it's all different?
Percentage or
The better the deal, the better it is. So the last 2 I paid out was 25,000, 20,000 respectfully.
Wow,
And then
that's amazing.
Then the one before that was only 7,000. And then this one that should be closing in a week or 2 weeks from now will be 20,000.
Wow. That's crazy.
Which to them is huge.
Yeah.
So keep in
It's
mind,
life-changing.
when you're offering people finder's fees, I actually had to give them lower finder's fees at first because they won't believe you otherwise. I get $8,000 to do this whole entire house, but you're going to give me $20,000 for a wholesale fee.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's unbelievable. So I had to give them $5,000 or $4,000, even if the deal was so much better, because they won't believe it otherwise. If you have someone in your family who's a worker for like Applebee's or something, and you say, I'm going to give you a check for like $50,000, they're not going to believe you, bro.
sounds like a Nigerian prince.
Yeah. I worked at Applebee's. If you said you're going to give me $50,000, I'd be like, I don't believe you. You're going to scam me. But if
Yeah.
you said, hey, Jay, I flip houses, I buy houses. If you help me find someone who's looking to sell, I'll give you $2,000. Now I believe it, even if that's worth $50,000.
Yeah. And you never know what people know, what situation that a family member or a friend might be in. They might just know someone. So it's always good to put it out.
Yeah, they know the ones that everyone in your circle, if you're someone who can afford to do a flip, then you don't know people on hard times. But to normal people, everybody is getting evicted. They're getting a foreclosure notice. There might be someone who's like 40 whose parents were fiscally responsible. They just passed away. They inherited the house, and now they got to sell it because they can't keep up with it. Those are like my biggest deals right now. But
Is that considered probate or?
in some, so we avoided it on some, couldn't avoid it on others. If they did the will correctly with proper trust, then you avoid it. A lot of people don't do the will the right way. So I'm meeting someone at Sunday at 2 to do another probate deal. And they're like, oh, we could just do the work ourselves. I've played this game before. I know. They have the young handyman kid who I don't believe he's one of these people who actually does anything. He's like, yeah, I could do it. You know, I'm handy with my hands, Jay. I'm real handy. I could just do it. You know, we're not trying to just give up money to an investor. So I'll represent them, and we'll open the probate process, and I'll introduce them to my probate guy, and they'll take 3 months. And after 3 months, if something is done, then God bless, I love it, right? Because I'm still a realtor. I can sell it. But if after 3 months nothing's done, then it's like, listen, where are we at? I mean, we got to just sell it at this point.
How often would you say that's a case where they don't do anything?
It's the majority of the time. They don't end up like this by accident.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like that for a reason. You know, unless if you're not driving a Bugatti, a Rolls Royce, a Ferrari, if you're not doing phenomenally well, then most people are just bad at navigating life, period. So you have to help them. You have to guide them through it. And then I don't blame them for it because I procrastinate things too. With as many houses as I do, I get notices from HOAs. I get liens on the properties because they're like, Jay, you didn't pay the HOA. I'm like, I didn't have that problem in 2021. Every house I listed was sold in like 2 weeks. Now it's like 2023. Things are sitting for like 3 or 4 months. I actually have to pay the HOA fee. I didn't even pay the HOA fee before.
Yeah.
Because I'd have it sold before they'd even, send me a letter.
So is that the issues you're having now? Like what's kind of the hold or your, I guess, pain points right now?
The market, the interest rates are really, really expensive. 8% is like what my hard money was a year and a half ago.
Wow.
That's a normal person's interest rate.
Yeah.
But interest rates just fell to like 6.5 on the Wells Fargo website for a 30-year conventional.
Yeah.
I think they're adding in buying down points because I don't think you can actually get 6.5. Like if you ask a normal lender, you're not going to get that. But now that rates are more than a point cheaper than what they were a month and a half ago, now I'm selling everything. On the phone today was all good news with all my problem
Nice.
properties.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So the cheapest properties are selling super easy.
Okay.
Super luxury selling super easy, like over 3 million.
Okay.
Because they all buy everything cash. They don't give a crap. But between like 500,000 and $1 million, really slow.
Yeah, that's interesting. So what's your buy box? What do you usually, your flips? Like, do you have a criteria on a house that you look for?
I mean,
Or
I'll
your
buy
price
anything for
point?
the right price, but usually it's a purchase price under 500,000 and sell it between like 400 and 600.
Are you looking at projects that you know will take a long time, even if it meets that cash criteria of yours?
I mean, I put the one that I locked up across the street from you guys on market because I'm like, I'm gonna have to put 120,000 to this, and it's gonna take a while. So that's why I did that because I had so many other flips going on. At this point, I might just take that over myself. But if it takes a while, I'll still do it. It just depends how deep the deal is. But I mean, the better the price, I'll just say yes to it and do it.
Yeah,
You know, I've done projects that take 5 months.
it's pretty long.
Yeah. It's always supposed to take quicker, but it always takes longer than what you think it will.
I was going to ask, can you walk us through your process of how you do your flips? Like from finding the deal all the way to getting your contractors lined up to getting it listed. Like, what is that like for you?
So someone sends me a deal, contractor, realtor, otherwise. I like it. I buy it.
And do you use like hard money? Or like, what's your process?
Yeah. So it's hard money. I have a line of credit with Kiavi. So I
Nice.
have $5 million line of credit. I don't even have to put any money down right now because of my connections and the communities that I'm in.
That's amazing.
So buy the house, as long as it's under $1 million or 3,500 square feet, then I don't put anything down.
Okay.
They get nervous past that point, and they get nervous on manufactured homes. So the rules change then.
Okay.
But for everything else, 100%, as long as the deal's good. So we use hard money, close within 10 days. If there's any title problems, it takes longer or whatever, HOAs. But usually within 10 days, you're supposed to get bids from contractors. I have all my contractors. I know who they are. They know me. I know them. If their price goes up, they know I'm going to ask about it 500 times. They're not going to try that on me.
Yeah.
So I know what their prices are going to approximately be. So as soon as they're done with one of their other jobs, I'll assign one of them to that house. If it's a better house, I'll assign my better contractor. If it's in a bad neighborhood, then I can assign one of my B-list contractors because some are better than others.
Yeah.
And if it's in Pahrump, I really only have one who will go out there. So
And then like the finishings and all that, like how do you determine, like, do you have like, is every flip the same or do you have different vibes for different flips?
there's different levels. For Pahrump, I'm buying one in Pahrump next week. It should close. Maybe it will be 2 weeks, but that one I'm going to do super cheap because if I raise the price, then no one's going to have the money to buy it.
Yeah.
They're living in Pahrump because they want a discount,
Yeah.
right? You know, you're not buying a Honda because you want a Ferrari. So that one will be really cheap. In cheap neighborhoods, I like to just do paint, flooring, and just the bare minimums or the cabinets and one of the showers, then maybe reglaze some of the other ones. But you try to do lower tier finishes. I think some of these flippers do way too high of tier on the cheap houses. But when you're a realtor and you're working with someone who wants a cheap house, what do they want? A cheap house. They're so price conscious. Every $5,000 or $10,000 means something. And they'd rather get a discount. If you're putting in $30,000 to sell it for $30,000 more, they'd rather just buy it in worse condition.
Yeah.
In Summerlin, Henderson, I'm generally doing higher end flips. The one across the street from you would have been really, really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I was hoping that you'd lock that up so I could watch your process.
Yeah. That would have been the highest end finishes because in your neighborhood,
Yeah.
there's some mid-range, but then there's also some really nice luxury.
Yeah.
And to get the best out of it, you have to do a really great finish.
Yeah, I'm planning to go door knocking more once it gets a little bit warmer. Because that neighborhood, I think, to me, is a gem.
Yeah.
Because it's all a mixture of a lot of old houses that need love, so.
With
I'm gonna try
something so rare, which is huge lots,
Yeah.
which all the new houses, they build them so close you can reach out
I know,
and touch your neighbor's
seriously.
house.
Yeah. It's crazy. I don't get it. There's so much land here in Vegas, but they put the community so close together.
Yeah.
Weird.
So, I mean, with the more rare something is, the more valuable it is. So, I mean, before those were just common houses.
Yeah.
But now, because it's so rare to get any lot square footage, now you can make it luxury and it's one of a kind. So it's the perfect opportunity.
Yeah. So, yeah, we got to door knock more in that neighborhood.
For flip or for Airbnb?
No, flip.
Yeah.
I want to do flips. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to do our own flips, but if it doesn't work for us, then we'll wholesale it to investors like you.
Yeah.
Yep.
So as far as what are you doing in your business now? Are you still doing pretty much the grunt work? You said you have a team, right? So
Yeah. At this point, I'm not going to the properties as often. So with my process, we buy it, put the contractor on it. We have a different person. So we have contractors for paint, flooring, and doing all the demo and preparedness stuff. We do all the demo first. If we might not get to the house for a week, 2 weeks, a month, then we'll probably do demo right away. So if tweakers come in and they squat, then there's nothing there. So even if they're over 2 days, the cops will come in and say, this isn't a house, it's a work zone.
Yeah. Oh,
You know.
okay.
So we've had a lot of problems with that. We do the showers that are messy. Then we paint, do the flooring, put in the cabinets, then all the trim work. So all the lights, faucets, that stuff, final cleaning, put it on market. If it has a certain layout that is weird or if it's too expensive, we'll get it furnished or we'll do staging on it. And if it's a cheaper house, we don't do staging.
Yeah, I was curious about that. How?
And if it's 55
Okay.
plus, we'll do staging.
Okay. Interesting.
Is a cheaper house considered 500 and under for you?
Nowadays, yeah. 40 years ago, I would get that stage, 500,000. That'd be a really high-end flip. But nowadays, 500 is,
Average.
I mean, I got like 6 houses right now over 500.
So you have 6 houses, or how many flips do you have going on right now?
9 active flips.
And how what's your team like? So it's you, and then what other people are you working with?
There's me, my right-hand man, and then transaction coordinator, and then everybody else is contractors.
Gotcha.
So I generally send out my right-hand man to go to every property, FaceTime me, but I'm not going to the properties as much because my time is better spent locking up deals, seeing if something is a deal, seeing what direction to go to, calling everybody and staying on top of them and managing everybody else. And then all my contractors do things for me, and then all the realtors and wholesalers who bring me deals, I'm always nurturing those deals, making things happen. And I mean, that's my whole job.
So you said you had a couple over 6 figures. What was your worst?
Worst was this past year. Lost 50,000 off it.
Oh man.
It's in Summerlin. So I would love to say that my worst property was one of the ones that got broken into, one of the ones that had, got flooded out or something bad happened. But
Oh my gosh.
you just bought it in April or May of 2022, and the rates start dropping, or they start going up rather, and the real estate market starts dropping, and you get into contract, but then they slow roll it and cancel. Then you go, that was at 550. Then you put it back on market. Nobody wants you. And you lower price, get under contract. They waste your time, back out.
Yeah.
Now the market's even worse. Lower price. End up selling that for like $495 with so much holding costs. At that point, it was the holding costs ate me up. The market ate me up. It was going to be such a great profit too. But
Did that project take a while?
It wasn't the longest flip. It's that people wasted my time or they backed out while things were falling because they got really scared by what everybody else was saying.
Yeah.
Rightfully so, I guess. But because they waste like 3 weeks, then they cancel. Now, the market was like a falling knife, and you're just trying to catch it at that point. And every month, I mean, you're just trying to drop the price an extra 10,000. But that's what the market was doing. It was dropping an extra 10,000. So you're just staying with it at that point.
Wow. So in that case, would you have pivoted to doing it, like turn it into a rental? Or
I
no?
did that with one of I put it on market as both a rental and a flip at the end of it, and then we ended up selling it. With the one in Pahrump that I did, I could either break even on a flip, maybe make 5,000, or profit 700 a month as a rental.
Yeah.
So I chose profit 700 a month.
Okay.
And then I had another flip to where I just kept it as a rental because of cash flow because it was a duplex.
And do you self-manage those, or do you have like a property manager?
I have a property manager for 2 of them, and I self-manage the other poorly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
You need I'm meant to do business.
Yeah.
I'm not meant to manage.
Yeah.
I'm not an organized person.
No.
Yeah. I'm not an organized person. You know, if it's like day-to-day boring stuff, I can go out and get a great deal. I'll lock it up. I'll talk to the seller. I'll make it happen. I'll find an angle that nobody else could find. I'll make this work. I can get deals done, but I'm not one to manage. I'm not organized.
Then why don't you pass that off to somebody else, or it's just easy?
Because that house is a shit show.
Oh.
So the other two were flips that are rented out. But that duplex is so bad that I'm embarrassed to have anybody else look at it, and I think that they would be embarrassed to manage it.
So that's here in Vegas or Pahrump?
It's here in Vegas. It's in the middle of town.
Most of the duplexes most multifamily I see is not the greatest here.
I had the intentions of evicting them, but they were both there for like 8 years. 8 years, always paying, happy with where they're at. The house is a piece of crap. I'm truly a slumlord, but they like it and they want it, and they pay very low rent.
Yeah.
And I raised their rent, but they pay a fair amount. So, you know, I'm waiting for one of them to move out. I'm like, please move out.
Yeah.
Because I want to renovate it. I can't put this on market. I don't want anyone else to see it until it's renovated.
Yeah.
And then I can, then I can be proud of it.
Yeah. That's funny. That sounds like something, I don't know. Is it like Section 8 area or something?
In Las Vegas, like everything's Section 8, so there's not a bona fide area. You could do Section 8 in Henderson, Summerlin, North Vegas, Middle, South,
anything.
You get the voucher, right?
Yeah, if you get the voucher, you could use that voucher anywhere. So we don't have Section 8 designations. But if there was Section 8 designations, this would be fucking Section 7. It's so bad. Well, whatever's worse, Section 7, Section 9, it would be the worst of the worst. It's not good.
That's funny.
Like the one guy's dad gets jumped on the way home, like 7-year-old man. That's not good.
Oh, man.
It's so bad.
Aw.
It's really, really dangerous.
Yeah, that's crazy. Dang, I was actually thinking about like when you do fix it up and renovate it, I would love to possibly buy it. But if it's like in a scary neighborhood, maybe not.
No.
Well, to sell it to you, it's on a street card called Harvard, which is a prestigious organization. So, I mean, clearly the street is great.
Yeah. Well, because my goal is to own multifamily and rent it out to Section 8, just because I grew up as a Section 8 kid, so it holds a special place in my heart. So that's why I'm like, ooh, whenever I find like a duplex or a fourplex, I'm always like wanting to run the numbers and see if it'll work.
Yeah.
But right now, our strategy is to get more cash flow. So that's why we're trying to do more flips. So that's why we wanted you on this podcast to get your ideas and your processes.
It's great when you have both, because if you have the right amount of rentals, and I'm not allowed to give legal or tax advice, but if you have the right amount of rentals and you do a few flips, then you could probably write off all your profit, which would be great.
Yeah, because we have 2 rentals right now. So we have a long-term and then our attached casita. So it's a midterm rental. And then we just locked up a deal with.
How much do you rent that out for a month?
Which one?
Your
bungalow?
Yeah, the
$1,600 a month.
$1,600. That's good.
Yeah,
300 square feet.
It's all inclusive. It's fully furnished, and all utilities, everything. Yeah,
That's really good. Okay.
Yeah, pays for
pretty
half our
good.
mortgage.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna take over that house across the street then.
You can live there.
Yeah. No. But, yeah.
We can wave at each other.
Yeah, I'll pad split it to
I know,
5
yeah.
or 6 people.
Yeah. That's actually another route that we want to try too is pad split. But you said that you heard horror stories or it's not a good idea.
Our good friend Spencer
Yeah.
has had a lot of bad stories, but he still loves it.
Does he do pad split or does he
just
do it
does-
on himself, right?
I think pad split is just a fancy marketing, or that's just the corporation that helps you and guides
Yeah.
you with it.
Yeah.
He does it all himself.
Oh,
Room by
okay.
the room, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's basically he has his own Airbnb website instead of doing Airbnb, but it's essentially an Airbnb.
Yeah.
So he pad splits without being pad split.
So he's making all that profit. That's
He has
amazing.
a website and everything.
He doesn't have a website
Oh.
with
Just Facebook, right?
with his social influence, and he knows how to post it on the right places, and he can even ask for someone who's looking for a roommate, and he gets really
Yeah.
qualified people.
Yeah, I bet. Guaranteed.
Oh yeah. That's
Yeah.
true. That's a good way to
Didn't
market
sound
it.
like that was the past. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember he was tell us all his crazy horror stories.
And those horror stories came because he inherited a house from GC3, who is a terrible. I mean, that gentleman is someone who's like really good at getting deals, really good at locking it up, seeing where the profit is. He made so much money in wholesaling. I think he made like over $1 million like his second year.
Damn. Wow.
But when it comes to managing, he sucks. And when it comes to choosing the right tenant, he double sucks.
Yeah.
So he chose a lot of people who should have never been there.
Yeah.
he was living. He was living there too.
He was living there too. Yeah.
Initially.
Wow. That's funny.
Yeah. There's people, we have different skills, you know? You're good at different things. So he's great at getting deals, not good at managing. He just needs someone to balance him out.
That's funny. So yeah, if you ever come across any deals that that fits our buy box, like that's on land, because we're
He's gonna
doing
flip it.
well. I know,
Yeah.
but I mean,
Well, I can
No,
still
yeah.
send it over, yeah.
yeah. Well, if you don't decide to flip it, let us know because we're looking for another project because we're almost done with our live and flip. So we want to find another one, but we need land because we have tortoises, chickens, you know, hella dogs.
Crazy. Yeah. What you got going on is crazy.
I know. And
I don't want to snitch you out or anything, but you have to get permits for having all these animals, or you
No.
can just do that.
you can. We're
called.
within. I called and I made sure like if we can have these tortoises.
What
can
are you
have,
not allowed to get? Can you have alpaca? Can you have like
yeah,
llamas?
You can. Yeah, we could have 2 livestock. So 2 livestock is like medium size, so goats or pigs, and then we could have 2 horses. I called the zoning and planning to make sure because I was like, I want to get a pig, you know, or
Yeah.
a goat, and I called, and you could have 20 chickens, 6 roosters, and unlimited tortoises just because they're reptiles. So
Okay.
yeah, it's not and then I think like 6 or 8
What's the
dogs.
regulation on like desert tortoise or?
We could only have 1 desert tortoise. But,
Okay.
So which we have 1, and then the sulcatas we have 2.
I wonder why only
Yeah.
one, because then you can't breed them.
No, they don't want that.
Yeah,
It's
they're
over-
like endangered or something.
It's
But
over-
if they're endangered, don't you want more more
Or
of
they're
them?
protected of
Yeah,
some
it's
sort.
like- yeah, I
Let's
don't
start a
know.
little desert tortoise match site, you know? Get them lucky.
I know.
Yeah. Have them not be endangered anymore.
Yeah. What else do you want to talk?
I was gonna say, what do you see for yourself? Are you just gonna continue flipping or?
Yeah,
what's the
so
goals?
we're going to take it to about 40 houses a year. Once we're at 40 houses a year, that's where I feel like when I look at any industry, I look at what point is it not that you can't grow more, but does it just get too difficult, right? So like, and also I like simple math. So if it can't pass simple math, then I don't want it. So like, what's my path to being a flipper, right? Or to making $1 million? You could, you know, make 40,000 a flip. That'd be 25 flips a year. That's easy, right? If you want to make $2 million, 40,000 a flip, 50 flips a year. If you want to make $1 million as a realtor, I mean, if your commissions are like 10,000, even that's a lot. You're probably not making 10,000 commission. That means that you would have to do 100 sales in a year. You're probably not going to do that.
Wow.
The really good realtors do like maybe 35. So I think being a realtor is the easiest way in the whole entire world to make over 100,000 a year. But to make over $250,000 a year is super difficult. Like it goes from the easiest thing to make 100,000 to being super difficult to make over 250,000 in the city of Las Vegas. I think it's relatively easy to make $1 million a year as a flipper, But to make like 3 million or more, I think that's the cap. So at that point, I'm going to start looking at where's the next path. You know, I mean, you know, a lot of millionaires who are flippers. Do you know any billionaires who are flippers? Kind of, but they're flipping businesses or multifamily or, you know, Warren Buffett is buying a business underpriced, fixing it up and selling it.
Yeah.
You know, Grant Cardone is buying multifamily houses, fixing up and selling it. But nobody's doing single family homes who's a billionaire.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm going to have to set the game up. I'm going to have to go to the next area. And I don't know where that's going to be. When I was younger, I always wanted to buy like apartment buildings and multifamily. But I mean, that's going to crash in maybe like 2 years. So maybe that'll be a good point after it kind of depreciates, it crashes, everybody kind of blows up their loans. And once everybody loses money, then go in. But if nobody loses money, I don't know if it'll ever be cheap enough to go in.
Yeah.
Are you sticking to Vegas or are you going to branch out?
At that point, it'll be anywhere. So with flipping houses, it's Vegas. I might not even be in Vegas next year. So I might live half the time in Vegas, half the time somewhere else, you know, Latin America most likely or something like that, and then just do the whole business that way. But eventually, I don't want to stay in Vegas long term. I don't have kids yet, but when I do, you can't raise your kids in Vegas.
Right.
Yeah.
I know you guys
No, I'm
got.
just kidding.
I know you guys got kids in Vegas, but
yeah,
like,
it's hard.
are you sending them to public school or
No,
are they like?
they're at Doral, so the charter school.
Oh, thank
yeah,
God.
yeah, thank God,
Yeah,
yeah.
the
And we
public's-
drive literally 30 minutes one way just to get them to a good school.
Yeah,
So it's like a
sucks.
2-hour drive every day.
you have to be really particular about that in
Yeah.
Vegas.
Yeah,
It's very scary.
Because we grew up in California, and I didn't want
Mhm.
I didn't want them to go to school there for sure. So
Yeah,
and this is better.
all the South and Southwest, you got to be really, really cautious about where they're going. But
yeah,
I know it's really easy to make money in Las Vegas, and especially when it comes to flipping houses. What's all of our houses look like? The house that I bought is old in Vegas, but I grew up in a house that's before the Civil War in Rhode Island, like 1870s. Like they didn't even have the exact date. It was so old. They said between like this decade
Yeah.
is when it was built. So like 1960 something super easy. Like even in our more difficult flips, they're still easy. If you compare it to North Carolina, they have mold. North Carolina, they have termites.
yeah.
North Carolina, they have hurricanes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Buffalo, they have snow. Detroit, they have snow. In the desert, it's the easiest place to do the easiest place to do this job.
Didn't think about that. Makes sense.
Yeah, Vegas and Phoenix are the easiest places to be a flipper, and that's why you see so many big ones that come to our cities.
Uh-huh.
Because once you figure it out, we don't have any downside.
Yeah, that's true. I was gonna ask what's the most money you lost and what's the most you made on a flip?
Most I made, it was either 112 or 118. I gotta check the number, but right in that range, 112 to 118.
That's
Now this
amazing.
one, we were on the phone earlier today.
Uh-huh.
Man, bad news comes in threes, but good news comes in threes too. Today has been all good news for me.
Nice.
Right? Like I'm just winning, getting everything in contract. Everybody's telling me they're sending me an offer. I'm loving it. So this one I just got for 280. I gave the guy 25,000 acquisition, so we're at 305, and I'm going to sell it for 485 without doing shit to it.
Wow,
And I'm going to give up 5,000 closing costs.
that's amazing.
But then when I go in, I'm probably going to have to fix a door frame for the loan. So I'm going to fix one door frame and then just sell it as is.
that's amazing.
Yeah. And that'll be my biggest profit.
Wow, that's crazy. Wait, so that's not an ovation, right? No, it's like a
No,
regular
because
flip?
I bought it.
Oh,
If
you
you
bought
make
it. Okay.
too much profit on a
Yeah.
wholesale, like the loan company won't do it for you.
Really?
This is what they don't tell you.
Wow.
There's this one house, I was even going to wholesale it to Pineda back in 2019.
Yeah.
Got it in Pahrump, 100,000. I was going to wholesale it for like 180.
Mm-hmm.
But because I was going to make 80,000 and the seller got 100,000, they're like, Jay, you can't do that. They're going to investigate you for fraud. You have to double close this.
I was gonna say, yeah. Can you double
Ah.
close?
Yeah, so I had to close it first and then sell it later. So if your profit is too big of a percentage,
Uh-huh.
you got to double close.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to ask, can you explain what double closing is? Explain it to me like I'm 5.
Okay, so basically double close just means you need to buy the house in your name first
Okay.
and then sell it off to the end buyer.
Okay. That makes
Because
sense.
if they see that the end buyer is getting 100,000 and you get 80,000, anybody who audits this file is going to think it's sus, to use the Gen Z term, but
Yeah.
they're going to think it's sus.
Yeah.
Where if you just bought it at 100 and then sold it, then you're allowed to make a profit.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Like even with the court, like with that probate court, the most they let you make as a realtor is 8%.
Oh, wow.
So that's like anything after that, they feel like you're taking advantage of the seller or you're being super shady. So title companies, like how much should a wholesaler is not a realtor, but if you go to other countries, like in Colombia, they don't have real estate licenses. The realtors out there are called like commissioners or commissions or commissiones. I don't know how to speak Spanish yet. So it's some crap like that, right? But they just call them like commission people. So they're all basically wholesalers. They're all basically like, hey, you want to sell your house for 97,000, and then they find some other person buy it at 103,000, then they take the 6,000.
That's cool.
And that's how they do business.
Dang, I'm going to tap into the Colombia market. We have friends out there.
So you don't need a real estate license or anything
Yeah.
like that. So wholesalers are essentially real estate licensed people who are just acting without a license by some measures. A lot of people debate that who are watching, but just roll with me, okay? It's just you're partaking in real estate and you're getting a piece off it without owning it, you know?
Where'd you say you learned sales?
When I was 18 years old, I was working 2 jobs, bus person at Applebee's and at Friendly's on East Coast. And one of the waiters there recruited me into network marketing. Now, I didn't make shit in network marketing, okay? I had a downline of 34 to 36 people, and which is good. Like, by all measures, like, I'm outperforming other people. Like, whoa, Jay, you're doing this, you're doing that. But realistically, I only made $2,000 off it, maybe $3,000 off the 2 years that I was in it. But while I was in it, that was my college for sales. So they were like, here's how you sell, here's how you recruit people. And you got to be good at sales because you're like, you want to make money? Join this company. But how much do you make? Shh, don't ask that question. I'm not making shit, but do you want to make money, right? I still love network marketing, though. But that's how they taught you sales. And the trainings that I saw within network marketing were better than any trainings I ever saw at real estate, any trainings at any conference, any training anywhere. Because everybody else is like, they're trying to like keep things secret and then market the rest. To where network marketing, they really want you to do well because when you do well, they do well, right? So that's where I got the best training advice. And that just leads to books. You start off, I think everybody's journey is you start off reading basic personal development books.
Yeah.
Until they all start to sound the same. Delayed gratification, work harder, right? Then you start reading books on generalized business. Even business is just buy things for lower, sell for higher, and get other people to do work for you.
Yeah.
After that, you start reading books on sales, but then sales gets you more into psychology. So once I was in my sales and psychology phase, that's where I learned everything with sales.
Where'd you learn that? Through school or books?
You want to know the best sales that there ever is? And then general enclosed, let's do earmuffs here. Back in 2008, what was super popular, and 2007 is when I got recruited, it was pickup community, right? How to pick up girls. The book, The Game came out. There's like Mystery Method, all this stuff. And the dudes who wrote books on how to pick up girls, if you analyze those books from the context of actually being sales, because what's picking up a girl more than just selling yourself, right? Those were the best books on psychology and sales that I ever read because they were practical. You read books like Nietzsche, you read books like Sigmund Freud, and they have narcissistic psychobabble. They're just really high in the clouds, and all your issues are because you're a mother and all this stuff, where when they read psychology in terms of picking up girls, it's very active of, if you're too pushy, they'll run away. If you're too little, they're not going to be interested. You have to hook. You have to be interesting. Then you have to think about the sale. It's very practical the way they go about it. So I think that was, in large part, the best, combined with all the other sales advice.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of good ones. Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn is great for just generalized business advice.
Yeah.
Jordan Belfort has some good ones, but even I listened to a lot of like the people from the 80s and 90s with some of those tapes. But you know, it's still all the same.
I have a Zig Ziglar CD and like the Mazda.
Yeah.
Sitting in the CD deck. That's funny.
The old school.
Do you
What's that?
what do you see the market doing? What is your prediction for like 2024?
Oh my God. Well, rates are finally coming down, which is why things are doing good. So this was the lost year for real estate.
Yeah.
Because you can't sell real estate when rates suck this bad. It's really, really bad. That's why I can't sell anything over $500,000. But just locked up a $975,000 property like right before this conversation.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. So I mean, that says how things are changing.
Uh-huh.
Rates are going to drop next year. They have scheduled, the Fed is going to lower rates, and then the mortgages will lower rates. The 10-year Treasury is already at like 4.2%, where it was at 5%. So the 10 years already falling faster than what the Fed is doing, what everybody else is doing. And that's good. When rates lower, in an economic vacuum, as rates go up, prices go down. As rates go down, prices go up. Now, there's other factors to that. Like with how much prices went up, they went more than doubled. They've never increased interest rates in a percentage basis more than they have in this last year and a half. It's never been done. Even in the 80s and stuff, where they had all that hyperinflation, 70s and 80s, even then they raised it from like 8% to 12%. We more than doubled it, right? So in a percentage basis, nobody had higher than us. But prices they only went down 15 to 20% because nobody's selling.
So you think if the rates come down, do you think it's going to get worse as far as like inflation? And
it could. I think the Fed is very cognizant of the lessons of the past. So Jay Powell, we truly stand on the shoulders of giants, just like, you know, LeBron James probably, well, I don't even want to go there, but like today's basketball players are better than the basketball players from the 90s because they took everything that they did and they made it better, right? Every year people are better. So our Fed has learned all the lessons of Paul Volcker and everything that happened in the 80s. And whenever they raised rates really high, and then they saw some improvement, and then they lowered rates, and then you get a spike in inflation again. So now they have to raise rates. And then you get a good reading, and then you lower rates, and then there's a spike in inflation again. So I think what they've learned is they're not as dumb as people think, and they learned that you have to keep it higher for longer. And that's exactly what they've done, because we've had some good readings. We should already be lowering the interest rate, but they want to keep it higher for longer. But they're not going to do raises and lowers. They're going to make sure that when they lower it for good. They're not going to, they've been really good about their messaging. Their biggest error is that they were too slow. They didn't react fast enough. They didn't raise interest rates fast enough. But once they did raise interest rates, they did it the right way. They keep it higher for longer. They make sure that we're not going to get inflation spikes. Will real estate go up? Yeah, it's going to go up. But that's supply and demand. There's more people in America. We have more households because people don't have their mothers and fathers living with them or grandparents. So everybody wants to live individually. In every other culture in the world, it's like you're the kids, you have your grandparents there, you'll have your kids there. You know, there's like a whole family unit inside the house. We don't like that in America. I want my parents away from me. And then my parents aren't even together. So my mom's in this house, my dad's in this house, I'm in this house. That's 3 people and we're in 3 different houses, right? They don't have that in other cultures. And now that every hedgie is buying all the houses, houses are just going to permanently be higher. You're not going to have as good of a time as the earlier generations did with buying houses. Because one, there's too much regulation now. It takes too much to build a house.
Yeah.
They're not building the houses. And then the hedgies are owning like 25% of it. By the end of 2023, a corporation, a hedge fund will own more than 25% of all American houses. So you're never going to get those cheap rates ever again. It's not going to come back for you. This is the new normal. You're just screwed forever now.
Yeah. So that's why creative finance is probably the way to go, you think?
Creative finances, buy the house, sit on it forever. It's not going down unless Vegas becomes a ghost town, which it won't.
Yeah. Love
Need
this city.
creative financing. I don't have a job.
Yeah. I'm with you, man. my tax situation, you know, you gotta write them off, but then they don't like They don't like looking at you.
So what do you think is more important? Is there certain years you write off more or certain years you claim more?
Honestly, at the beginning, I was just trying to do more flips, and I didn't really put a lot of consideration to the tax burden of it. I was just trying to grow. I knew that all the benefits of being a flipper was being a volume flipper. Because when you're a volume flipper and everybody knows that you do deals, then people send you deals. So people just send me deals because they know I'll buy it.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of benefits in being somebody who just does it in bulk and is known for doing it in bulk. So I don't want anyone to ever send me a deal and I can't perform on it. That is my biggest, like, that will never happen.
Yeah.
Jay got a deal. Okay, I'll buy it. Do I have money or not? I don't know. I'll figure it out. Right? But I have to be Mr. Reliable. Then starting in like 2021 is when I really started to care more about my tax burden. Because now I'm like, I'm making a lot of fucking money. Like I gotta. Now I should be a little bit smarter with this. So I try to do the subject twos and get rentals and streamline cost segregations. I could do it better, but you know, I'm still like 6 years into this. By year 10, I'll be fully dialed in. Like once I hit 40 houses, I will not grow anymore. You know, that's it. We're going to make things more stable. We're going to make sure we pay less in taxes. We're going to make sure that everything is far more above board and low tax and, you know, just mature in every way and proper reserves, which is something I never had.
Is that what you normally do with your profits? You normally just reinvest it back into real estate?
Yeah, bro. Yeah. I sell one house, I buy two more.
Nice.
Sell another, I buy two more.
Yeah.
I don't have rich parents.
Yeah.
So when I go from like 2017, I bought one. 2018, I bought 8. This is like the most aggressive. I wouldn't recommend this to anyone in the world. Like the most aggressive style of real estate you could ever imagine.
Is there like
really dangerous?
When you see a house, what are you looking like ARV wise about roughly? Like how much under are you looking for?
80% of ARV minus repairs. If it's a manufactured home, maybe more like 70% of ARV minus repairs. You don't want to touch those these days. Jeez.
So do you do everything? Do you do like single family, condo, manufactured?
Everything, yeah. If it's a luxury home, then I really have to take the lower end of the market and then do that 80% of ARV minus repairs or less. Because ARV, luxury is too, you know, even with luxury cars, why is this Lamborghini $300,000 and that Lamborghini's $1 million? Is it really that much faster? Like the one that's $1 million, maybe it's like 50 horsepower faster than the one that's $300,000. So why is each Lamborghini worth so much more? Why is this watch worth, you know, $50,000? This other watch is worth $1,000, and they look the same. They do the same thing.
Yeah.
When you get into the luxury market, some things just don't make sense, right? When you're in more, especially when you're in Las Vegas, everything's a cookie cutter spec home. So it's all very consistent. You know, you want, number one is don't lose money. Number 2 rule is see rule number 1. You want to make sure that you're going to make money for sure. So by more than anything else, do not be overambitious with the ARV. But with that, 80% of ARV minus repairs, the bigger question is, what are you calling the ARV?
Yeah. And
in this market, are you adjusting minus 3% for closing costs? Because I'm giving everybody closing costs. Even I just got into contract $345,000 on one of my flips. Even that person, I gave up $10,000 closing costs. So that's a big deal, $10,000.
Yeah.
Are you taking on listings as well?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Just for like regular clients.
With how things are built out, my transaction coordinator is really good, and I pay her a lot of money. Right? She's an established transaction coordinator who's been in the business for 7 years. She can run whole transactions. She's great. She might be better than me in some circumstances. So with how good I am, with how dialed in things are, I could take on 100 listings right now. So if you're a normal person, I might take on a listing for 3%, maybe at the lowest 2%. If you're an investor, as long as it's like over 350,000 or over 400,000, I'll do it for 1%. The reason is investors, like here's the cost of doing the job. The cost of doing the job is 1%.
Yeah.
Being Dr. Phil is that other 2%. Selling real estate, the fundamentals of it is easy. Having that psychology degree behind it is hard. So investors, it's super easy. What do you want? You just want money.
Yeah.
They don't have emotions that are not
Yeah.
emotionally tied. They're not like, oh, my grandma left me that fan. I can't,
Yeah.
It's super easy working with investors.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I do it for cheaper for them. For off the street people, especially this probate deal that I'm taking on Sunday,
Yeah.
there's 6 family members in that probate.
Ugh.
When I sit there with these 6 family members who are all next of kin,
Yeah.
I'm going to say, hey, listen, guys, because I've been around long enough to where I can do this, even though with a face like this, it's hard to ask for things. If I had gray hair, I could be more demanding. Even if I've done hundreds of deals,
Yeah.
because I look like a child, it's really hard to just hold table, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to say, hey, guys, there's 6 people here. You're all going to have different opinions. I want you guys to name one person to be the administrator, the leader,
Yeah.
to where whatever they say, what they say goes.
Uh-huh.
Because 6 personalities is a lot to manage.
Yeah.
And then it's one person.
Is it hard to get them to agree to that one person sometimes, I imagine?
It will. With this, at least they'll be able to hear the experience resonating from my voice that I've seen some shit. I've done deals with 4 people on title before.
Uh-huh.
It's really, really, really difficult. And I'll bring this up.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say right now, everybody's happy until something goes wrong. I want all of you to name one person to go to so that in case there's a tiebreaker, they break all ties or that whatever they say goes. You need that. 6 people is way too much to make decisions.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that would be a headache.
Yeah. But I still take on listings. I like it. I like having my pulse on the market, my thumb on the pulse of the market. I feel it makes me a better flipper, a better investor. I want to know the vibe of this neighborhood in North Vegas at 350 is way different than the vibe of this neighborhood in Henderson at 600, way different than the vibe of Summerlin and 500. It's all... I like retrieving all those data sets on a first-hand basis, not reading it on a spreadsheet, but knowing how it feels. Are they trying to beat me up for closing costs? Am I getting multiple offers? Am I getting one offer? Am I begging for an offer? I want to know that because it makes me better.
Yeah, makes sense. There's one more question I can't think of it right now.
What I want to know is, what do you want to focus on?
Us?
You do
We're
so
all
many
over-
things.
yeah,
You
we're
guys
all-
have Airbnbs. You want to flip. You breed dogs.
Yeah.
That was a
What do you want to do when you grow up?
So we should be going into contract here on Tuesday.
Uh-huh.
It's for a condo. I know it's not, but it's gonna be our first one.
Yeah.
Condos are good.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
brush that off. Every
Yeah.
property is good.
I'm grateful.
Yeah.
for the
We're
opportunity.
our business partner Nick is also a student of Wealthy Investor, so we tag teamed with Brian Davila on this one. So it's going to be our first actual flip
Oh, awesome.
without us living in it, because that's our strategy. Was our strategy or is?
Live and flip.
It's
Yeah.
not a business unless you're not living in it.
I know.
A live and flip is nothing more than a homeless flipper.
Yeah, it really
So,
is.
Yeah. You can't scale a live and flip. You need
I
to
know.
scale this. What I want to challenge you guys with
Yeah.
is pick 1 or 2 things
I know.
and then just do those to the max. Just
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
We're not doing dogs.
Yeah,
We
that was
learned our lesson.
yeah, that was
So-
too hard because we got too attached to all the puppies. So
yeah.
And then letting them go was like painful.
yeah.
And then we had to make sure like they're not going to bad homes and all that. So we're not meant to be into.
We just
the
wanted to
dog
try
business
it.
for
We
money.
we're the type of people that are risk takers and just try anything. You know?
Yeah. But that's why I want to focus you.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
Trying
That's the goal. Like we sold the care home.
Yeah.
You know, we knew the puppies were coming up, but once that was over, we knew we are kind of like done with that.
I told someone about you yesterday because they want the nurse homes or in-person living, assisted living, whatever it's called,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
But they want to do that. So you might get a call later. And,
Okay, that's fine.
I know there's certain things like 36-inch wide doorways and you need ramps, but
Yeah, it's
I
all
don't know.
the ADA stuff and plus some from the state, you know,
Yeah.
more or less. It's not too bad.
Would that be worth scaling to like 10 different
Um,
assisted living facilities? When you do it more, you can dial it in.
Yeah.
So
That's
like
true.
right now, I couldn't have an employee or a team to do things unless I could have enough work to justify their work, you know? So that's why I wanted to be a volume flipper so I could get everything dialed in and then
Yeah.
I'll make things more efficient on the back end. And people get too in the weeds about stuff. They get like a bunch of LLCs, a bunch of asset protection, a bunch of trusts.
That's what we're doing.
When they don't even have a house yet. Like, just buy a house and then getting too crazy right now. Is that her?
Oh, where can people find you?
At Vegas Flipper J on Instagram and Jay Mirando Show.
Nice.
On YouTube.
Oh, so is that what your show is called? The
Jay Mirando Show, yeah.
Okay.
There might still be some places. It used to be called Paper Trails.
Oh, yeah. That's what I thought it was. Okay.
It was called Paper Trails, but then people thought, like, oh, Jay, you should take people's financials and audit it. Like, no, dude, we're not auditing financials.
Yeah. I like
it's
the
Jay
name.
Mirando Show now.
Okay.
I love the name Paper Trails.
Yeah.
But when I say Paper Trails, they're like, Jay, you need to lean into that and check people's paper and audit their finances. I'm like, no. This is too much. So it's Jay Mirando Show, personal branding.
Okay.
So we're putting out more content on real estate rather than just the podcast now. So you'll learn how to flip. And right now we're putting out the promise to where we are the #1 platform for all flipping and wholesaling. And if you watch the show for 6 months, they will have everything that you need to know to be a multimillionaire flipper or wholesaler in Las Vegas.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm going to start watching for 6 months
and
use what I learned.
And crush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what's your biggest advice for somebody just getting into like real estate investing?
Into real estate investing? Oh, I wish I knew them first. Because some people, you got to tell them not to be a pussy. And then some people, you got to tell them, whoa, slow down, buddy.
Yeah.
But know that in all the books that you read, it's generalized information. You have to have the concept of who wrote this. And if there's someone in North Carolina, that might not apply to Las Vegas. If I give you real estate advice in Las Vegas, that might not apply to Hawaii or Buffalo or whatever. So read the books. Know that's generalized flipping knowledge. Get connected to people who are in your city and in your area, and then ask them hyper-specific questions. And you spend a reasonable amount of time analyzing and researching everything, and then you jump in and you get the firsthand experience, okay? There's learn knowledge and there's activity knowledge. The learn knowledge is the knowledge in the books, the courses, the podcasts, all that. The activity knowledge is doing it yourself. And learn that the truth is somewhere in the books. They'll write things a certain way, and the author might actually do something a different way. When I'm writing my book, I might say, get quotes from 3 different contractors. I don't do that because I've known my contractors for 6 years.
Yeah.
I just say, go do it. I'm locking up deals. I can't meet with all these people all the time, you know? So they might write things for you to protect you, but they don't do it themselves. So meet up with your local community, ask them questions. Don't, he who hesitates is lost, but like look before you leap. Like you want to have the right combination. Don't wait too long, but analyze a little bit right in the middle. And that's what all flipping is. The art of flipping is knowing the right amount to fix it up to get the right ARV. You flip it too much, then you spent too much money. You flip it too little, and then it'll never sell. It's knowing the Goldilocks zone of every single area of these things, what makes you a professional.
How long did it take you to get into that, would you say?
I feel like I'm just naturally good at that because I played so many games, whether it's like video games or card games or whatever. I just know what the winning path is because all these things are, even though it seems like I'm just fucking off, it's actually training of like knowing to have this much offense with this much defense. You don't want to be a glass cannon, but you don't want to be someone who doesn't deal damage. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. But because of being a realtor, that's what honed me in. Being a realtor is what made me know. But then even then, the prices that people tell you, you realize that they don't know because they don't do it.
Yeah.
And then the people who know don't tell you because they're like, just give me the deal and I'll buy it. No one's going to tell you the actual truth. The realtors are full of shit, and then the other flippers are trying to conceal it so that they can take it all for themselves. Dude, you don't want to get into trouble. Just send it to me, and I'll buy it from you, right? You're going to have to figure it out for yourself. So it was being a realtor, and then I learned more when I did some rehabs myself.
Got it.
I have one last question. Okay, so we're going to actually have Ryan on our podcast in a couple weeks.
Oh, big, yeah.
Is there anything from you, like what should we ask him? Or I don't know, because like we're so nervous because in Cancun when we were there, I made a bold, big ask in front of everyone in the conference. Well, because we had a mini conference out there, like a mastermind. Yeah. And it was him and Justin up on stage and they're talking about their media. And so we're part of their media. And so I was like, hey, since we're part of your media, would you be willing to be on our podcast? You
Yeah.
know? And it was like in front of everybody. And then he was like, oh man.
Then he has to.
Yeah.
You got him. You
Yeah,
got
I
him.
got him.
He said you put him. He said you put me on the spot.
Yeah. I mean, you want to say you guarantee people success or not? You got to come on, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, fuck this.
Step up.
This is my chance to ask him like to be on our podcast, you know? So
I had no idea she was gonna ask.
yeah.
I would love to know what your mission statement is.
Mission statement.
Like,
let me put this in my phone.
you know, from the frame of what you should ask him questions, what purpose are you asking the questions for? Do you want to hear about his flipping? He might not be interested in flipping anymore. He makes more money doing social media and selling courses and all that than he ever did with flipping.
Oh, yeah.
And he was great at flipping.
Yeah.
But like I said, once you hit that $2 to $3 million mark, which is what he hit, then it got too difficult, and then he took the easier path, which is, and easier doesn't mean worse. It just means that, like, you know.
Well, yeah. He basically said that, like, he saw, like, it was very limiting. Once you get to a certain level, you can only flip a certain amount. That's why he started branching out in different directions.
I remember the Christmas party with him in 2018, and I was asking him a bunch of questions, and he did over 100 flips that year.
Wow.
And it's like, everybody's talking about him as a success story. We're like, how much are you going to do next year? He's like, Jay, I'm not doing more next year. We already have problems finding enough good contractors. It's like so many houses to manage. We want to make it more efficient. Like, you know, and then being in the real estate world, you've heard people say like, oh, Pineda's flips, I've been into those. It's kind of crappy. What year was it? 2018? Yeah, because he couldn't find a flipper to do it. He couldn't find a contractor. You can't manage it. There's like real logistical issues. There's things in theory and there's things in practice. In theory, you just buy a house, you fix it up, you sell it. In practice, managing that many is actually a really, really big challenge. But because you guys have your podcast, you want him to ask him things from the frame of a podcast. He's a great real estate investor. Do you want to ask him things from the frame of a real estate investor? He had NFTs. Maybe don't bring those up, okay? Maybe don't talk about that.
Yeah.
It's not a good subject. But what do you think? Have your audience in mind. Why does someone watch your show?
Okay.
Right? Like my promise is all on flipping and wholesaling.
Yeah.
What is your promise to your viewers? What would they want to get out of it?
That's
because what I want to get out of it
Uh-huh.
would be different from, you know, I mean, I think the Fresh and Fit guys interviewed him, but they do real estate. But like, if you're coming from a different context, you'll approach it a different way. A tax person, if you were a tax podcast, you'd probably be asking him a lot about his tax strategies.
Yeah.
What are your rentals like? How are you adding that in? How are you writing off your social media? Oh, you can write off your videos like that. But what is your end audience's, what do they want to get?
Yeah.
And then deliver to them.
I don't think I was gonna even ask him anything about flips.
Yeah. And that's how he cut his teeth. Like, that's how he broke into this,
Yeah.
you know? Unless you want to say flipping couches, but that's kind of...
Nah, we're good. I don't need to talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But ask what would get the most for your viewers. What do they
viewers,
want from
okay.
you? And you know your viewers better than me. So I'm out here talking about flips. Maybe they don't want that. Do they want something else from me? Do they want like my Insta? Like, you know, putting out content, how to not hire people. I'll give you advice on how to not hire people. Don't do this. I might not be able to say what to do, but don't do this one.
Yeah.
What's your biggest tip for that?
For
Not hiring people. We've hired a lot of people.
Yeah. And I fired a lot of people. So
everybody is going to, like, just like I said with the contractors, that's everybody. Everybody's going on a date. Everybody's going to tell you how good they're going to run your business,
Yeah.
everything they're going to do.
yeah.
Every social media marketing company out there and platform is going to say, oh, we're going to do this. We're going to blow you up. We're going to make your content better. And then you get this Filipino editor who doesn't even barely speak English.
Yeah.
And then they edit your shit and it's super cringe.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is, I guess, you know, for millennials out there, not good or something. That's more
Yeah.
Gen Z terms. I don't know how old your audience is, but it's not good. Cringe
Yeah.
is not good,
Yeah.
right? Like, everybody's going to promise you everything, but you want someone with enough of a track. I would try to get a value, right? So you want someone with enough of a track record that they could perform. But if they're like, oh, pay me $100,000, you don't have $100,000 to pay.
Yeah.
So it's all finding that middle ground of, do you have the competency with also, you're not overpricing yourself, because nobody should pay an editor $100,000. That's crazy. You know, so what's the right amount?
I don't know yet.
Yeah. And I've had differences in opinion. I think maybe I have to interview them more or something like that, but I have differences in opinion with some of my editors, and, you know, they have to be on board with what your content is. And for me, I have to put out content. It's not curated videos. It's not documentaries. I just need to show people more of the flips that I do, because you need to know that I do flips, because I might not be selling a course, but I want you to send me deals. I want you to loan money with me, you know, loan money on my properties, loan money on my flips. I don't have anyone right now who I would do more subject twos, because I can find these things at like 3% interest rates, 2.75. I think some of the entry fees are too expensive for me.
Yeah.
But I find these deals all day. If someone would want to be a partner on that, like, hey, I can't find these deals, but Jay, you're so good at it. Let's go in on title together and then get these subject to properties. I would love that.
Yeah.
Be a hard money lender who can come in and partner with me on the deal, and then we exit 5 years from now and clean up. But we'll still get rental money in between.
Yeah.
You know? But that's the purpose. So when I'm putting out content, what is my purpose? I'm not a rapper. I don't want you to listen to my SoundCloud.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not selling a course. I just want you to give me deals and give me money.
Yeah. Yeah. I was actually on the route to do an e-course too on midterm rentals, furnished rentals, co-hosting, because that's like my main source of income right now.
Yeah.
But I decided to just build that out and just drop it on YouTube for free. So we'll see how it goes.
Give value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually going to do an e-course, and I was like, nah, I don't want to be that person, you know? So I'm just learning to like how to strategically drop content, you know?
Yeah.
So that's why we're doing a podcast, and then we're also filming YouTube stuff for all that. So
For sure. Well, this has been great.
I know. Yeah. Thanks for having us. Thanks for coming
thanks
on.
Thanks for having me.
I know.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for being on our show.
Absolutely. Hope to come back.
Yeah.
So if you enjoyed today's podcast, please like, subscribe, comment, and all that good stuff.
Peace.